Tuo Sen unleashes the god-slaying spear, instantly massacring thousands of cultivators and destroying entire celestial forces. Silence. Wang Lin frowned slightly. Xu Liguo instantly shut his mouth. Yet the sword body still trembled faintly. Inside, his thoughts were in complete chaos. It's over. It's over. I must have lost my mind to attack this fiend. Xu Liguo, you call yourself a cunning devil, yet you acted so recklessly. This refinement ends here. From now on, I will observe your conduct. If you dare rebel again, I will erase you completely. Wang Lin's voice was cold. Yet to Xu Liguo, those words felt like a spring breeze after winter. Relief flooded his heart, and he hurriedly spoke. Master truly is magnani. Before he could finish flattering him, Wang Lin waved his right hand and directly sent the sword into the spatial crack. He had no interest in listening to Xu Liguo's exaggerated praise. After putting Xu Liguo away, Wang Lin stepped forward. His figure vanished without a trace. Somewhere within the territory of the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect, Taran sat quietly upon a cultivation planet. Several beast hides lay beside him as he continuously infused tattoo power into them. As he drew another line, Taran's right hand suddenly trembled. He slowly raised his head. Wang Lin had appeared silently before him. His expression calm, his white hair moving gently in the wind. Wang Lin merely looked at him. Taran remained silent for a long moment before bitterly saying, Master. Wang Lin withdrew his gaze and looked toward the distant horizon. Only after a long time did he calmly speak. You have already regained your consciousness. There is no need for you to continue calling me Master. The bitterness on Taran's face deepened. It was Master who allowed me to live until today. Taran will never forget this. Wang Lin sighed softly. Looking at Taran, he asked, When are you leaving? Taran's body trembled. He looked toward Wang Lin and fell silent for a moment before revealing a helpless smile. How did Master see through me? You have been making talismans ever since you arrived here. If you had no plans to leave, you would not be doing this. This was Wang Lin's first meeting with Taran in several years. Facing the former celestial guard who once followed him, even Wang Lin felt emotions too complex to describe. Taran nodded quietly. I wish to return to All Heaven and see the members of my clan. He paused slightly before continuing, Master, aside from the talismans I prepared for myself, I also made 3 for you. Speed, Collapse, and Seal. As he spoke, he took out 3 beast hides and respectfully handed them over. These talismans were crafted from extremely rare hides. The effort required to create them exceeded ordinary talismans many times over. Wang Lin accepted the 3 talismans and looked at Taran. The Alliance star system is in chaos right now. Be careful on your journey. Taran looked at Wang Lin and silently nodded. If you encounter the disciple I accepted on planet Qinling, help me take care of him. Wang Lin took one final look at Taran before turning to leave. Only after Wang Lin disappeared did Taran silently kneel down. Facing the direction Wang Lin had departed, he kowtowed deeply once. Then he gathered the beast hides, took a deep breath, and rose into the sky. Situnan naturally had to accompany this journey into the Rain Celestial realm. The poison within his body had not yet been completely removed. Without the antidote, it would eventually become a serious hidden danger. At this moment, Situnan sat beside one of the 35 elders. This elder was currently helping him suppress the poison. Situnan's expression appeared grave, yet inside he had already made a decision. The moment the poison was removed, he would drag Wang Lin straight to planet Feng Luan and seek revenge. Every bit of suffering he endured at the hands of those female cultivators would be repaid in full. Within the territory of the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect existed several abandoned cultivation planets. They were unfit for life. Poisonous gas filled the air while blazing flames intensified the toxicity. At this moment, Wang Lin appeared beside one of these abandoned planets. There was no vegetation. Nearly all life had long since vanished. Only an endless black desert remained radiating scorching heat. Standing upon the black sand, one could clearly feel poison mixed within the heat itself. The desert was uneven, filled with rises and valleys. Black mountains stood scattered throughout. Before Wang Lin stood one such mountain. It was entirely black. Waves of heat distorted the air and caused Wang Lin's white hair to flutter. Wang Lin clasped his hands. Junior Wang Lin greets Senior's celestial cloud couple. The instant his voice echoed out, a streak of sword energy shot forth from the mountain and rushed directly toward him. Wang Lin did not retreat. Instead, he smiled calmly. The sword energy arrived before him and transformed into a man. The man appeared middle-aged, handsome, pale-faced, with a faint smile upon his lips. It was Zhou Yi. Wang Lin, the two seniors already knew you would come. Follow me below. No unnecessary words were needed between them. Smiling, the two stepped into the mountain together and descended downward. The interior of the mountain stretched endlessly deep. Intense waves of heat surged upward from below. Wang Lin naturally ignored the heat entirely. He glanced toward Zhou Yi. Zhou Yi smiled bitterly and spoke softly. When I first came here, I truly could not adapt. But now it no longer affects me. He hesitated briefly before finally asking, Wang Lin, I heard you came this time to rescue the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor. Wang Lin shook his head. Looking at Zhou Yi with respect, he calmly replied, saving the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor is only one matter. There is also Celestial Emperor Qing Lin. Only by awakening Qing Lin can Celestial Lord Qing Shuang revive. The moment Zhou Yi heard those words, excitement filled his face. He looked at Wang Lin with gratitude. Thank you. Wang Lin's expression turned complicated. He silently shook his head. Zhou Yi immediately understood something. His expression dimmed. You and I are very similar, he said softly while continuing downward. But I have you helping me, while you have no one helping you. Big brother Zhou is powerless to aid you. Wang Lin remained silent. Not long afterward, the two finally reached the bottom. This underground world had clearly been transformed through a supreme divine ability. It was completely separated from the poisonous world outside, like a paradise hidden beneath hell itself. A small river flowed quietly into the distance. Several wooden huts stood nearby. Green fields spread across the ground, and blooming flowers swayed gently in the breeze. Wang Wei sat beside the river, smiling warmly toward Hu Huan on the opposite bank. Hu Huan appeared like a carefree child. Her feet rested within the water as she occasionally splashed the river playfully. After Wang Lin and Zhou Yi entered the barrier, Wang Lin respectfully clasped his hands. Junior Wang Lin greets the two seniors. Wang Wei looked toward Wang Lin and smiled. First, explain why you had me sneak attack Li Yunzi. Otherwise, I won't let this matter pass so easily. Yu Quan brushed aside her hair and laughed softly from across the river. He cares very deeply about this matter. He thinks sneak attacking a junior is too embarrassing for someone of his status. Wang Lin smiled faintly. Ever since the events within the demon spirit land, Wang Wei and Hu Huan had become far closer to him. They no longer treated him as an outsider. In truth, Wang Wei likely never cared much about attacking Li Yunzi in the first place. Since he had been asked, Wang Lin briefly explained his reasons. After hearing them, Wang Wei immediately lost interest in the matter. Back within the demon spirit land, Junior heard the final words of Celestial Emperor Qing Lin. Rain Celestial Realm Temple. Origin Soul Crystal. Qing Shuang's body. Wang Lin paused slightly. Junior already possesses two of them. Only the Rain Celestial Realm Temple remains. He looked toward Wang Wei. Wang Wei's expression gradually became serious. Over these years, I have carefully thought about it. There truly was such a temple. It was the place where Master ascended to become Celestial Emperor. I also mentioned this matter to you before. Since you came here today, then that means... His gaze fell upon Wang Lin. After a moment of silence, Wang Lin explained how the old vermilion bird Divine Emperor had taken away the Rain Celestial Realm Crystal. Wang Wei's expression immediately changed after hearing this. Even Hu Huan stopped playing in the river. She quickly put on her shoes and walked to Wang Wei's side. The two exchanged glances. Then Wang Wei slowly said, The old vermilion bird, Divine Emperor, once showed great kindness to the two of us. If the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor is truly trapped within the Rain Celestial Realm, then we will naturally help rescue him. This shall repay the favor of obtaining the Rain Celestial Realm crystal." Wang Lin nodded. Wang Wei and Hu Juan quickly prepared themselves. Together with Zhou Yi, they departed alongside Wang Lin. As for Qing Lin's body, Wang Wei personally carried it. Upon the massive formation atop the main vermilion bird planet, everyone waited in complete silence. At this moment, 4 rays of light descended from the sky and landed upon the formation. Wang Lin, Wang Wei, Hu Juan, Zhou Yi. Without wasting even a moment, Wang Lin stepped into the center of the formation and sat down. A cold light flashed within his eyes. "Open the formation." As his voice thundered out, his right hand tore through empty space. A crack appeared instantly. From within it flew a crystal overflowing with celestial spiritual energy. At the same time, the 10,000 sect disciples opened their eyes together. Endless origin energy surged into the formation beneath them. The massive formation immediately began to shine brilliantly. When the light reached its peak, it gathered beneath the 35 elders. The elders simultaneously formed seals with both hands. Their cultivation erupted wildly. All the origin energy gathered from the disciples divided into 35 streams before charging directly toward the crystal floating before Wang Lin. In an instant, the crystal radiated blinding brilliance. An unimaginable quantity of celestial spiritual energy exploded outward and filled the heavens. A massive pillar of celestial energy shot straight into the sky as endless ripples spread across all directions. Thunderous rumbling echoed throughout heaven and earth. Above the vermilion bird divine sect planet, the gate to the Rain Celestial Realm slowly appeared. At this moment, every cultivator whose cultivation had reached a certain level sensed the fluctuation. Those familiar with it immediately recognized the aura. The Rain Celestial Realm had opened once more. At the same time, rain furnaces appeared throughout the Alliance star system. However, the cultivators of all heaven, the Corpse sect, and the various Alliance forces had already gathered around planet Suzaku. Though shocked, they had no time to investigate further. With our level of cultivation, the Rain Celestial Realm will become unstable and collapse on a massive scale. We must rescue the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor immediately. The moment Wang Lin spoke, he charged directly toward the gate of the Rain Celestial Realm. Behind him, the 35 elders, Situ Nan, Wang Wei, Hu Juan, and the others followed closely. There was also another figure Wang Lin had been too busy to notice, the silver female corpse. She too rushed toward the Rain Celestial Realm. At the same moment, within the northern region of the Alliance star system, upon a remote abandoned planet, violent tremors suddenly erupted. The planet split apart into a massive cross-shaped crack. An old man with white hair slowly floated out. His long hair covered his face completely. Before him floated a crystal emitting faint light, a rain furnace. A sinister voice slowly echoed out, "Wang Lin, you cannot escape my calculations." At that moment, a gust of wind swept through and scattered the old man's hair. Revealed beneath it was All-Seer. The sun rose early. Golden light scattered across the darkness. As the people of Flowing Cloud City woke one after another, the city gradually became lively. Shops opened their doors in succession, and the food street in the Western District was already crowded with shouting vendors. Fresh dough twisted in boiling oil. White buns emerged from steaming baskets. Tofu pancakes and countless small snacks filled the street with heat and fragrance. The wine stall of the Cheng family stood among the bustling crowd. Although it was still morning, the Cheng family's wine was light and mellow. It would not intoxicate anyone. Instead, it refreshed the spirit, and thus many customers favored it. Cheng Shuishan, nearly 50 years old, stood beside the stall with a pipe in hand. He watched the busy workers with narrowed eyes. Deep wrinkles covered his face, yet a pleased smile lingered there. A middle-aged man bought a jug of wine. He shook it twice before taking a large gulp. Then he grinned at Old Man Cheng. "Uncle Cheng, your wine doesn't taste as good as before. Did you cut some ingredients?" Old Man Cheng widened his eyes. He puffed heavily on his pipe and snorted. "Nonsense. My Cheng family's wine." Before he could finish, the middle-aged man burst into laughter. "Your Cheng family's wine has been passed down for thousands of years. You always say even immortals once praised it." "Uncle Cheng, I hear this every single day. I still have work to do. I don't have time for your endless stories." Laughing, the man carried the wine away. Old man Cheng took a deep drag from his pipe and muttered unhappily, "What does a little brat like him know? More than 1,000 years ago, an immortal truly drank my Cheng family's wine for over 60 years. Inside his home, there were still several wooden carvings preserved from over 1,000 years ago. One depicted the first ancestor of the Cheng family after arriving in Flowing Cloud City. The other showed a blurry-faced immortal. Within the Cheng family, a legend had been passed down through every generation. According to the legend, the Cheng family had not originally belonged to Flowing Cloud City. During a terrible snowstorm disaster, they had migrated here. Rumor said that their ancestor had once lived beside that immortal for more than 60 years. It was that immortal benefactor who had helped their family settle here. Ancestor Cheng Danyu lived to the age of 137. Even before death, he still remembered that immortal. This story has been passed down for generations. How could it possibly be fake? Old man Cheng narrowed his eyes proudly and knocked the pipe against the ground. Yet very soon his expression suddenly changed. He rubbed his eyes and stared carefully into the sky. His mouth slowly opened wide. The sky had originally been clear and bright beneath the blazing sun. But suddenly enormous ripples spread across the heavens, sweeping over the entire sky. Thunderous rumbles echoed in every direction. The bustling street instantly fell silent. Everyone raised their heads. Panic appeared in their eyes. As the ripples spread, rays of light suddenly descended from the heavens like meteors. The streams of light pierced through the atmosphere with ease. Then they transformed into cultivators, immortals. The mortals below cried out in terror. Their bodies trembled violently. Some immediately rushed back into their homes and shut the doors tightly, not daring to step outside again. "Do not disturb the mortals. Immediately gather at the Sea of Devils." A commanding voice rolled across the heavens like thunder itself. At the same moment, the descending cultivators did not pause at all. They turned into streams of light and rushed toward the distance. At this same moment, identical scenes unfolded across the entirety of planet Suzaku. This sudden change threw every mortal empire into chaos. Countless mortals trembled in fear, utterly lost and helpless. Fortunately, those immortals did not attack the mortals. The instant they arrived, they immediately departed once more. Naturally, the native cultivators of planet Suzaku had all witnessed this scene. Yet not a single one dared to rise into the air and question them. Even soul formation and soul transformation cultivators did not dare. Among the foreign cultivators crossing the skies, any random individual possessed an aura terrifying enough to shake the soul. Some merely needed a single glance to make others nearly collapse. Even the few ascendant cultivators on Suzaku stared at the heavens with shocked expressions. Shu Wutai wore a gloomy face. Among the cultivators flying through the skies, only a very small number were people he could contend against. As for the rest, their auras alone made it difficult for him to breathe. Fortunately, although these cultivators came from many different factions, none paid attention to the native cultivators. All of them rushed toward the Sea of Devils. The entire sky became covered by streaks of light. Then a gigantic shadow slowly appeared above the heavens. The sun itself became obscured. At this moment, the entire planet fell beneath shadow. These enormous shadows were the palaces of the Thunder Celestial Temple. They did not descend onto planet Suzaku itself. Instead, they merely orbited around it. Planet Suzaku was already half ruined. It simply could not withstand the terrifying fluctuations emitted by those palaces. Soon after the shadows appeared, coffins began descending from the heavens. Some were large, some were small. Around every coffin stood numerous cultivators. As the cultivators flew toward the Sea of Devils, they naturally noticed the gigantic statue standing upon the earth. This statue belonged to the Cloud Sky sect. An arrogant cultivator from all heaven glanced at the statue. To him, a tiny cultivation planet like this, daring to erect such a monument, was laughable. The statue appeared somewhat familiar, yet he did not think too deeply about it. He let out a cold snort and casually raised his hand, preparing to destroy the statue as he passed. But just before his palm descended, a cold feminine voice sounded behind him. "Stop!" The cultivator was startled. He turned around and frowned. "Shi Feng, what do you mean by this?" The woman who spoke was Shi Feng. She looked coldly at the arrogant cultivator and calmly said, "Take a closer look. See whose statue this truly is." After speaking, she no longer paid attention to him. Instead, she gazed toward the statue with a complicated expression. A faint sigh escaped her lips before she turned into light and flew away. The arrogant cultivator frowned. He carefully observed the statue once more. The longer he looked, the more familiar it became. Suddenly his eyes widened. He inhaled sharply. This is Thunder Celestial Shu Mu. Although all heaven had already stripped Wang Lin of his title as Thunder Celestial, the battle for that title had once shaken countless realms. Mere hundreds of years were far from enough for people to forget it. Cold sweat instantly covered the arrogant cultivator's scalp. He knew Shu Mu's Taoist title, Master Devil. That name alone was enough to make countless cultivators tremble. Destroying someone else's statue suddenly seemed utterly meaningless. Without another word, he immediately turned and left. Master Flamespark and the others, together with the people from the corpse sect, also noticed the statue. Orders were quickly spread out, and afterward no one dared entertain thoughts of destroying it. The corpse sect, all heaven, and the many forces of the Alliance all gathered upon planet Suzaku. Guided by the information they had received, they rushed toward the Sea of Devils. Planet Suzaku was not especially large. Before long, everyone had already neared the Sea of Devils. In truth, none of the factions had sent too many cultivators to Suzaku. Altogether, there were only around 7,000 cultivators. This was merely the first wave. Their task was to investigate the situation. Although Wang Lin's information possessed extremely high credibility, verification was still necessary. Beyond planet Suzaku, even more cultivators floated silently in outer space. They remained within their own camps, waiting for news from the first group. All restrictions blocking the path toward the land of the ancient god were meaningless before these cultivators. They forcefully charged through everything. Very soon, they passed through the chaotic broken stars and arrived before the entrance leading into the land of the ancient god. Ferocious roars echoed from the oval-shaped entrance. The first trial within the land of the ancient god was a dark abyss filled with floating boulders. But now every single boulder suddenly collapsed apart. Pairs of savage eyes lit up within the darkness. This was the place where Wang Lin had once nearly died. It was also where the Thunder Toad had appeared. Now countless ferocious beasts hid silently within the abyss. Waiting, roars continued to erupt from the oval entrance within the Sea of Devils. The surrounding cultivators hesitated briefly, yet none chose to retreat. One after another, they stepped into the oval entrance. The moment the first cultivators entered, a streak of red light suddenly shot upward from the endless abyss below. Just as one cultivator prepared to react, a flash of red lightning burst upward and struck him directly. His body trembled violently. For an instant, numbness spread through his entire body. At that exact moment, the red light closed in. It was a crimson python, nearly 10,000 feet long. In one bite, it swallowed the cultivator whole. That single action became the signal for slaughter to begin. Countless ferocious beasts erupted from the abyss and launched themselves toward the invading cultivators. A desperate battle of life and death instantly unfolded. Blood began raining down through the abyss. The scent of blood further stimulated the beast's savage instincts. As the slaughter continued, waves of origin energy gradually spread deeper and deeper into regions of the abyss that even Wang Lin himself had never explored. Within those deepest shadows, two blood-red eyes slowly opened. They stared upward at the cultivators above. At the same time, deep within the sea of blood inside the land of the ancient god, Tuo Sen sat atop a stone pillar. His red hair drifted wildly around him. One finger slowly scraped across the ground, producing a harsh, grating sound. Then he slowly lifted his head. A smile appeared upon his face. He raised his right hand, and then without the slightest mercy, he clenched it tightly. With that grasp, waves surged across the sea of blood. The violent ocean roared as though the heavens themselves were collapsing. Beside Tuo Sen, the blood-red sky twisted violently as if some terrifying power was about to break free. Then the sky split apart. The crack stretched for more than 100,000 feet. A killing intent suppressed for countless years burst forth for the first time. It was so overwhelming that the entire sea of blood trembled beneath it. A terrifying pressure poured out from the crack. The raging sea of blood instantly calmed, forced backward by that pressure. Bolts of lightning flashed endlessly around the Li Feng. Tuo Sen raised his head. Cruelty filled his face. Royal clan treasure, god-slaying spear. In the name of Tuo Sen, descend. The moment his words fell, furious roars echoed from within the crack. Lightning exploded outward, and a ray of crimson light shot directly toward Tuo Sen's right hand. Tuo Sen seized it. The red light struggled for only a moment before becoming still. It transformed into a crimson spear over 1,000 feet long. Lightning coiled around it like serpents, and it released an aura beyond imagination. Holding the spear, Tuo Sen revealed a bloodthirsty smile. Then he hurled it forward without mercy. A heaven-shaking explosion erupted. The god-slaying spear pierced through the sky of the blood-red world. The heavens seemed on the verge of collapse. The instant the spear broke through the blood-red realm, its speed increased again. It pierced through countless regions within the land of the ancient god and rushed straight toward the abyss. It was simply too fast. The aura it carried was enough to shake even Nirvana Shatterer cultivators. The spear became a crimson flash like a raging dragon and charged toward the cultivators battling the fierce beasts. Every cultivator trembled the moment the god-slaying spear appeared. Before they could even react, miserable screams echoed across the battlefield. As the red light swept past every cultivator it touched, exploded into bloody mist. Yet the blood did not scatter. Every drop was absorbed by the crimson spear. No cultivator could withstand the god-slaying spear. In the blink of an eye, more than half of the thousands of cultivators who had entered were slaughtered. The remaining cultivators were still trapped under the attacks of countless fierce beasts. Only slightly more than 1,000 people managed to flee in panic. The god-slaying spear, wrapped in crimson light, did not pursue the scattered cultivators. Instead, it rushed toward the oval entrance and charged out of the land of the ancient god. The moment it emerged into the sea of devils, the entire planet trembled violently. An indescribable aura descended upon the world. All origin energy before the spear was forcibly driven back. It was as though wherever the god-slaying spear existed, origin energy itself was forbidden from existing. The crimson light shone brilliantly. The god-slaying spear burst out from the sea of devils. The red beam shot into the sky, tearing apart the atmosphere as it entered outer space without the slightest resistance. After tens of thousands of years, the royal weapon of the ancient god clan appeared once more. All the forces outside planet Suzaku sensed this heaven-shaking aura. Before they could react, the god-slaying spear was already closing in on one of all heaven's thunder celestial temple palaces. A flash of crimson light erupted. The spear pierced directly through the palace. The palace trembled violently before shattering into countless fragments. But the god-slaying spear did not stop. It pierced through every palace belonging to all heaven, reducing them all to ruins. Even the corpse sect suffered disastrous losses. Coffins shattered one after another before the spear. The corpse puppets hidden within instantly turned to dust. The Alliance forces also suffered greatly. The god-slaying spear swept through the crowd, and endless miserable screams echoed through space. Anyone who came near it died immediately. Among the dead was an old woman from the Alliance who possessed Nirvana Shatterer cultivation. She believed her early-stage Nirvana Shatterer cultivation could stop the spear even for a moment. She immediately cast a spell, but the god-slaying spear ignored all techniques. It pierced directly through her chest. Disbelief filled her eyes as she lowered her head and stared at the bloody hole in her chest. A moment later, her body collapsed. Even her origin soul completely dissipated. Master Flamespark's pupils contracted sharply. He and the other elders immediately flew out. The corpse sect also sent cultivators to intercept the god-slaying spear. But just as they prepared to attack the god-slaying spear, suddenly turned around and flew back toward planet Suzaku. It returned to the Sea of Devils and vanished once more into the land of the ancient god. At the instant it disappeared, a hoarse voice echoed across the planet and throughout space. "I am waiting for all of you." Silence filled the starry sky. Master Flamespark and the elders wore grave expressions. Some elders even turned pale, disbelief flashing within their eyes. What exactly was that? So what Wang Lin said was true. Master Flamespark's eyes shone brightly. He had come because of an order from the person within all heaven, whom he respected deeply. He had no choice but to come. After a moment of silence, Master Flamespark shouted, "All cultivators follow me to planet Suzaku." Then he charged directly toward planet Suzaku. The elders and countless cultivators followed behind him. The corpse sect hesitated briefly. Then a voice like grinding stones echoed through space. "Corpse sect, move out." The entire corpse sect immediately mobilized. Swarms of cultivators carrying coffins flew toward planet Suzaku. The 8 people leading them were surrounded by black fog and radiated terrifying pressure. The Alliance forces hesitated for a moment and did not send everyone. Half their forces remained behind, while the other half followed their respective elders toward planet Suzaku. At the same time, deep within the abyss of the land of the ancient god, the existence awakened by the fluctuations of origin, energy slowly rose upward. Its blurred figure gradually became clear. Its body was not large. It stood only 20 feet tall, shaped like a sturdy human male. But the sight of its neck was enough to make anyone gasp in horror. 18 thick branches extended from its neck, each one like a giant python, twisting through the air. It was as though 18 massive serpents grew from its shoulders. At the end of every branch was a different head, male and female, young and old. At first glance, it was clearly not human, but some ancient and mysterious ferocious beast. Legends of this creature existed since ancient times, though none were truly accurate. And this was not the only one of its kind. In ancient times, there existed a spirit named Ji. It possessed a human form. It was not born naturally, but created by the heavens themselves. Within 3 days, it reached adulthood. It defied the heavens and eventually died, its head severed. From its corpse, the monster Ji Kyung was born. This beast began with only one head. Every time it devoured a world, it gained another head and acquired new divine abilities. It dared to battle the heavens themselves and could sleep for eternity. At this moment within the Rain Celestial realm, compared to the chaos of the land of the ancient god, everything seemed peaceful. Only the cracks spreading across the sky and the constant trembling of the earth disturbed that peace. The cultivation levels of Wang Lin's group had already surpassed what the Rain Celestial realm could endure. The moment they entered, one fragment of the realm collapsed, producing an enormous suction force that dragged nearby fragments closer together. Wang Lin stood atop a high place and gazed at the familiar fragments of the Rain Celestial realm. Memories surfaced within his eyes. He slowly located the fragment where he had once heard the cry for help. Dozens of cultivators surrounded him, all looking toward Wang Lin. For this mission to rescue the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor, everyone had to follow Wang Lin's lead. After all, he was the Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor. More importantly, only Wang Lin knew where the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor was imprisoned. Wang Lin moved. A thunderous rumble echoed as he charged downward. Without hesitation, everyone followed behind him. They could not remain here for too long. Otherwise, the Rain Celestial realm would collapse on a massive scale. If that happened, forget saving the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor. Even Qinglin would become impossible to save, so they had to move quickly. Everyone understood this clearly. Wang Lin flew rapidly, but he deliberately restrained his full speed. His movements remained gentle, so he would not trigger further collapse within the Rain Celestial realm. Along the way, they encountered no cultivators. Even if some cultivators had entered through the rain furnaces, once they saw the unstable state of this place, they would flee in terror. Before long, even more cracks appeared throughout the Rain Celestial realm. Distant rumbling echoed endlessly as another fragment collapsed. Wang Lin finally arrived at the fragment where he had once heard the plea for help. He remembered clearly. The cry had come from a mountain shaped like a lock. After landing, his divine sense spread outward immediately. 5,000 kilometers away, he instantly found that mountain. Wang Lin rushed toward it without delay. Closer, closer still. Behind him, the elders of the Azure Dragon Divine Sect were filled with excitement. They had waited far too long for this day. But the greater their hope, the deeper their fear of disappointment. At this moment, worry filled their hearts. Even their Dao hearts had become unstable. A moment later, the lock-shaped mountain appeared before everyone. It was here that I heard the cry for help. Wang Lin pointed ahead. The elders of the Azure Dragon Divine Sect immediately charged toward the mountain. "Save me! Save me!" A weak voice suddenly echoed through the air as they neared the mountain. Wang Lin stopped instantly, yet everyone around him seemed completely unaware, as though they had heard nothing at all. A strange light flashed through Wang Lin's eyes. He slowly asked, "Do you all hear someone calling for help?"